Welcome, everybody, to another session with A World of Possibilities. I'm Phil Cisneros, your host, and I have with me today a very, very special guest, a very good friend of mine who has an extraordinary service that she gives to people. And I'm going to be asking her questions about what difference it makes in people's lives having this service. So I'd like to welcome Erin Bartlett of All in Place Organizing. So,
Hi, Phil.
hi, Erin.
It's
Good
great
day.
to be here.
Good to have you here on World of Possibilities and Educational Podcasts. And I want our listeners out there to look at anywhere in your life where you're disorganized. And I know we all have somewhere where we're disorganized. And we also want to know a little bit about you and how you got started in all this. So, with that, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, thanks, Phil. Yeah, it's great to be here with you, and thanks for having me. Um, let's see, the origin of this whole work, all the work that I do now, started back in 2001 when a friend of mine was moving into her new place. And I was helping her get moved in, and then she had to go do a conference call. So I found some things in her boxes that were just, you know, looked like things that I could use to create a table setting. So I made this little vignette that was just a beautiful, um, something beautiful to look at, where the rest of the house was complete chaos, right? So she comes out of the other room and she looks and she goes, "Oh my gosh, how did you do that?" And I was just playing, I was just having fun. And she said, "You should do this for a living." And I thought maybe I should. So that was 2001. And just a little bit of history behind that is my mother was an artist and very creative, also a decorator. And I learned a lot from her about how to design a living space and how to keep it organized and tidy. And so that combined with this encouragement from my friend got me started. And that's that was the beginning of all
Oh,
this
that's
10
great.
years
Well,
later.
yeah, the one word that stood out for me when you said all that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And given that most of us, when we're trying to stay organized, it doesn't occur for us as fun.
Right.
It's mostly frustration, angst, worry, fear, overwhelm,
Yes.
even to the point of being paralysis, not being in action about
Yeah.
being organized or doing what are we going to do with all this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And so, with that, can you tell us a little bit more about when you're interacting with, and if you can, share some examples of where somebody was completely resigned about being organized or living an organized life, and how you were able to, and again, this show is about inspiring people, touching people's lives to navigate through life, including our unorganized lives.
Yeah.
So with that, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, that's great, Phil, because a lot of the clients I work with, one of the things I hear over and over again is I know how to do this, I know what to do, but I just don't do it. And having me there to help them holds their feet to the ground and keeps their focus. They know somebody's coming to hold them accountable, and they're able to stay in focus, keep that focus going. But also, people have different mindsets. So, growing up, they may not have ever learned how to get organized. Their parents weren't organized. Somewhere along the line, they decided, I'm just not that kind of person. I don't have that kind of gene. It doesn't, and and they find it really overwhelming, and they just never learned how to do it. So that's one of the things I do is help them, first of all, get that they can learn how to do this. Anybody can. I have people that have severe ADHD that have learned how to create structures and systems and habits and routines that help them stay organized. One example of a person that I worked with, and this was over Zoom, because I work with people one-on-one in person in their home or office, or I work with them on Zoom in a coaching session, or I work with them through a group program, which I'll talk about more later.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say, I bet during COVID, your business carried on over Zoom, even though you couldn't come to people's homes. Is that how you did it?
right, yeah, that's I had to actually create something because I
Yeah.
wasn't doing that before. And so then I created my Women in Good Company program, which is a 7-week long series. So back to this woman that I worked with through Zoom one-on-one, and she had a space that was, I wish I could show you a picture because it's just, you would be flabbergasted. It was a space between a counter and a cabinets, the glass cabinets up above, and it had lighting underneath the cabinets. Every square inch of that, I don't know, 6 foot long, 3 foot tall, 2 feet deep space was packed with stuff.
Like,
Everything you could imagine.
okay, I was going to say stuff. I mean, I could think what,
Yeah.
magazines,
Papers, magazines, electric cords, uh, food, backpacks. I mean, everything just went into that. And there was no room left. So um, that was a challenge. That was our first challenge. And she just was completely overwhelmed by that. So first thing I had her do was find some bins, some boxes, some bins, and take everything out of there. Just take all of it out of there. And the main idea with that is that once you see a clear space, it gives people hope, right? It's like, oh my gosh, yes, it's possible. And
yeah,
so we cleared it all out, put it all in boxes and bins, um, cleaned it all up. And then I had her put back just the things that she wanted to have there. And she had like a beautiful bowl, a sculpture, and just a couple of things. And with the lighting and the clean space, she calls it now her sacred space.
ah.
And nothing goes back in that space.
So it
Yeah,
actually was
yeah.
no longer when she looked at it, didn't trigger any uh, feeling of angst,
Despair,
right?
frustration,
And suddenly
guilt, embarrassment.
she now can look at it and experience peace, right?
Oh, yes, just like this feeling of like, she can breathe again. Peaceful, harmonious. Yeah, it just gave her a sense of calm, and the chaos was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really helped. And then we went through the bins one at a time, one pile at a time, and we found a place for everything to go. And the stuff, that she didn't need, she got rid of. We took care of the rest of it that way. Yeah,
That's great. Great.
that was a very satisfying client to work with. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, was she then able to continue that way? That's the question I would have. Okay, yeah,
Uh-huh.
took care of it once, but is it sustainable?
It took a couple of rounds because the habit, it was automatic. It was a place that was available. It was right there. So she did start to backslide a bit, but then we nipped it in the bud, got her back on track, and she got back in touch with how calming it was and how satisfying it was to have that space clear, even if other parts of the house were not. When she looked over there and she saw that space all organized and looking beautiful, it gave her inspiration and motivation to keep working on the rest of the house.
So it's basically a catalyst. r-
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're kind of like an athletic coach for, like if you, when we have bad habits about weightlifting or running or habits of going to the fitness center, and you're a fitness coach and they slip on their attending the fitness center and doing weightlifting, etc. You're telling no, get back on track. Is that
Right, right. Like I'm the trainer. Yeah,
right? Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, trainer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Speak.
sometimes we have to review the footage, the video footage, and go, okay, we got to get back to this. This isn't working. Let's fine tune here and keep up your practices. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's something very interesting about what you said about when you have an image of the mess,
Mm,
right? And your brain has an image of the mess.
right.
What emotions go with the image of the mess when you first greet them?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're overwhelmed. They're frustrated. There's a lot of people experience a sense of embarrassment or shame
Oh, mhm.
and guilt about not being able to have it look the way they want it, keep it the way they would like to have it. They sometimes won't even have guests over or friends come into
Yeah.
their space because they're so embarrassed. So
Somebody once told me that chaos in a household is like organization. If it's chaotic,
mm.
chaos stands for can't have anyone over syndrome.
I haven't heard of that one. That's good.
Okay, so now when they have the picture, the image
Uh-huh.
of that, and they look in their that where it was messy, and they see a new image in that space,
Mhm.
and the brain picks up that picture and puts, and it's now an image in their memory, basically, right? Because they have a
Yeah,
new memory.
yeah,
Yeah. So you're actually not only creating good habits, or that's not what I want to say, good habits, but you're also creating new images that go with those habits.
right, right. So the brain now has a new pattern to look at. Like, okay, it is possible.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we look at is like, what is it you want to see happen and why? Like, what difference is that going to make in your life? What impact is that going to have on your relationships, on your ability to focus and work on the things that really matter to you? And and also, um, oh, sorry, I've lost my train of thought, Phil.
Okay.
Um, Stop for a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
So we we want to get in touch with what's possible, right? They start to see that it is possible to have this my life work and to have this these new habits and patterns and systems in place so that I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not living in chaos, and I have more time for my family, the things I enjoy doing, going fishing, going surfing, going out with friends, whatever it is you love doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's about what's possible
Yeah.
and
Well,
seeing that. Yeah.
well, let's take a look at the people that, let's see, those of us who are disorganized in our garages, in our storage areas, in our house, etc. And, some of us still go out and go do things with friends. But my question is, what's the difference
Yeah.
between a place where you're angst about a home condition of disorganization and
Right.
chaos and going out with your friends, and what's the difference between a person who's living an organized life and going out and being with friends? What's the
Mm.
mood difference in there?
Oh, yeah, huge. Because a lot of people that they'll look at their mess, then the overwhelm, and they go, okay, forget it. I'm just going to go out with my friends. I'm just going to go do something I enjoy, go for a walk, and ignore it. But it's always in the background.
Oh, wait, that's really good. So it's really an avoidance or ignoring it or
Yeah.
trying to get away from it, right?
Yep. Yep. They're just
Oh,
tolerating it, putting up with it.
okay.
But it's niggling away in the background.
Okay,
It's
great.
an irritation. It's a little fly always there, right?
Hey, right. Yeah, like a toothache, that's a
Yeah.
dull pain, right?
Right, right. And oh, and then another client I had, she said, I would friends would call me and say, let's go out. And she'd say, oh, I can't. I have to get my office organized and I'm going to do it this weekend. And then she wouldn't do it. Something would come up, something she would get distracted or avoid it again.
Yeah.
But then the next time her friends would call and say, let's go out and let's do something fun, she'd have the same issue coming up. And so it was a constant disruption to her life.
Yeah.
She couldn't just go out and enjoy herself and feel good about it.
Yeah. So now the difference is when you are living an organized life after you've worked with them and they do go out and do the same things they do called going out with their friends.
Yeah.
What is now the difference? What is now
Oh,
the
yeah.
experience?
Now they can be really present and enjoy the time with their friends. They don't have anything going on in the background about what they should be doing, what they ought to be doing, what they could be doing in terms of organizing anyway. And yeah, they can just really enjoy themselves and be relaxed and fully participate. Yeah,
Yeah. And then they're not, if something comes up called, well, why don't we go to your house after we have dessert here?
right. They say, yeah, come on over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Instead of no, I gotta I'm going to bed early this week, so just get
Right.
my rest.
Actually, I need
So,
to go home and work, you know.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, or my mom's there and she's not feeling well. So
yes. Yeah, some excuse, right?
yeah, yeah. So that now they're free.
Yeah, free to
Yeah.
be, free to enjoy, free to participate, free to engage with life.
Now, another question I have,
Mm,
when you work with people,
mhm.
is everything then perfect in their house to the point where nothing's out of place and everything's organized? I mean, is
That's not
that
even true in my house, no.
oh, okay, good. Good, I was a little concerned. I thought, "Oh, geez, like, sometimes there's some places in my house that aren't
What is
all
that old
organized."
saying? Progress, not perfection, right?
Right, okay, good, good, good. I like that. Progress, not
Yeah.
perfect.
You still want to be able to live in your house. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is that you won't have that on your shoulders when you
Mm,
go out in the world and your activities with other people. You won't have that in the background.
right.
What you'll have is the freedom just to be with them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that there are little imperfections in our organized life.
Yeah. Yeah. Life still continues to have its, ups and downs and things that pop up where you don't have time to get that everything perfectly in order. Um, I have a friend who just had hip surgery, so she can't exactly be running around cleaning up her room right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take a look also that if uh a person has this thing called someday I'm going to get all organized.
Mm,
Is that possible? It's when you say someday I'm going to get all organized and I'll have
right.
everything is that like in your work with people?
Yeah, that comes up a lot, and that's one of the things that keeps people from taking action.
Oh,
Is they think that someday when I have all the right equipment, when I have the containers, the right or the right training or the right technique or the or more time or when I'm feeling more motivated. There we go. That's a good one. Yeah.
yeah.
When I get
Yeah.
inspired. So they keep that's an easy thing to come up for people to put aside actually taking some action. So one of the things I have them do is start with something really simple. We don't go to their memorabilia first because that's one of the hardest things for people to tackle.
Ah, good.
We start on a junk drawer, something really simple, something that can be done quickly, that they can see instant results with, and there's not a lot of attachment to those things in the junk drawer.
Right.
So,
And so they don't start thinking, well, someday when my kids are gone,
Right.
someday when I get divorced and
Right.
I got that person out of my life, and or
When
someday
I'm retired, when
when
I'm
I'm retired, right? Or someday when uh whatever it is that we
yeah,
all have this someday
yeah,
that we're hoping that will be the day
yeah,
when we actually get organized. But can I say that that someday is never going to happen?
exactly. It is never going to happen.
Um,
And one of the things we look at, because there is this resistance a lot of times to starting, is like not uh, not so much that it's required, but if it was possible, what would I need to do? And just take that one step. Like if it were possible, what would I need to do now?
yeah.
And excuse me, I should have
Hold
gotten some water here.
on. Okay,
Okay.
watch your hands. You're pounding your hands on the
Oh,
table.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, so if it were possible, what would I need to do now? And then we just take that next step. And a lot of times I'll have somebody set a timer for just 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to start the action. It's like, okay, we're going to take 10 minutes and work on that junk drawer or that one cupboard or that one drawer. One
Yes.
thing that's going to take 5 or 10 minutes. And a lot of times that's enough, the just getting started, to motivate people to keep going.
Yes.
And they start seeing the results. They start seeing the spaciousness and the opening for something to happen that seemed impossible.
Yes.
And now they're like excited about that idea, possibility.
Yeah. It really alters their experience of looking at their living situation, right?
Yeah,
Their home.
yeah, yeah.
Now, the next question I have is, if somebody, no matter where they're at in this country, in the United States, let's just say in the United States,
Yeah.
and they're sitting here listening to you and going, oh my gosh, I could really use this kind of person.
Mhm.
But how would we do it when I'm living in New Hampshire or in Virginia or Missouri or Minnesota?
Mhm.
So, is that possible for you to actually work with them? I mean, because this is going to be broadcast to all kinds of places.
Yeah, I actually have clients right now in Indiana, Denver, Chicago, Berkeley, all over the country. And we work either one on one on Zoom. And while that person is working on their space, I'm coaching them. And we're going together through either Zoom or sometimes FaceTime so that they can take their phone around with them and show me what they're working on. And I can coach them and give them tips or techniques or, you know, uh, tell them what's working, what's not working, and we work through it together. And but also with my program, which is on Zoom, and it's called Women in Good Company. We meet once a week for 7 weeks, Monday mornings right now. And it's really beneficial because it's a group dynamic that happens, and people can create a community. It becomes a community of support. And first of all,
Oh,
people don't feel so alone with
yes,
this
smart.
issue. You know, they they go, oh, I'm not the only one dealing with this. And they hear other people's ideas and other people's struggles. And just also, I have them create I set them up with what I call a power partner.
Okay.
So that during the week, when in between our sessions, they have somebody they can work with, connect with either through text or Zoom or phone, and they support each other that way with what they're going to do that week. So
Isn't-
that's been really helpful.
Great. Very good. So it's not only do you have individual coaching, but you've got this program called Women in Good Company. And this is just for women, right?
Right. Yeah. It's to support all the great women out there.
Yeah. And it allows for community support and empowerment through partnerships, et cetera. So
Yeah.
that, and they also get, and I know most of us are thinking, I've got the messiest house in the world.
Right.
Everybody else has it as messy as mine. But to find out that other people are disorganizing, maybe even worse or less than you,
Yeah.
but they're still in that situation,
Yeah.
then you can bond with them. Yeah.
Right. And you just don't feel so on your own or like you're the only one dealing and struggling with these issues. And going back to the thing we talked about in the beginning, it's fun. It brings more fun and play. And I also bring that to the program. So there's some music that happens, there's some short little videos that are inspirational videos uh, and sharing, a lot of sharing, so that people get to get connected and related to each other. And there's a lot of laughter.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, we do need to laugh about the mess we're in sometimes.
Yes, right.
Yes.
And that is one of the things I want to bring up, Phil, too, is that right now we're in a clutter crisis in our country, maybe the world, but especially here. The storage industry, the storage units, facilities, it's $1 billion industry because people have too much stuff. They have more stuff than will fit in their where they live in their environment. I saw a little short clip by Jerry Seinfeld the other day, and he said, we used to throw away our trash. Now we pay money to go visit our trash, right? Which is really pretty accurate. And I was doing the math the other day. So a lot of people, an average storage locker is about $100 a month. And if you, so that's a year's 12 months, that's $1,200 for a year. A lot of people have storage lockers for 5 years. That's $6,000. 10 years, that's, I forget what the price is.
$12,000. Yeah.
$12,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
$12,000. What
yeah,
could you do with $12,000?
I go
Right.
on a couple of vacations.
Right. Yes. Really nice vacations.
Yeah.
Buy a down payment on a nice car.
Yeah.
All kinds of things that you could do. And most of the stuff in those storage lockers is not worth near that much. It's just
Yeah.
stuff that we're attached to, think we have to, keep for someday, might need it, etc.
I think that's the key phrase that I've heard myself when I used to have a storage unit. I don't have one anymore.
Yeah,
I had one, I would say, I might need this someday.
yeah,
Isn't that the red flag?
yep, yep,
I might need this.
yeah.
That's usually when
And a
I
year
go,
later, you're going, I still might need that someday, right?
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're coming to a close now in our interview, and I want to let people know how they can get a hold of you and contact you. So, what an incredible service that you're giving to people and
Mhm.
really impacting their livelihood and their experience with others and just living a life they've always wanted to live.
Yeah,
So free,
yeah,
free from burden, right?
yeah. I've gotten some great testimonials from people. They're just so much happier after they've gotten that stuff sorted out.
Okay. That's a good way to put it. Sorted out.
Sorted out, yes,
Right.
exactly. So yeah, you can reach me through my website, allinplace.org,
Okay.
by phone. Should I give out the number, Phil?
Well, is that on your website?
It is, yep. It's on the
Just have them
website
go. Yeah, just have them
and
go to
my
your website.
email and yeah, phone, text, email.
Okay, great. So the phone number on your website is also a way they can text you.
Yes,
And your email is on the website as well, right?
yep, yep.
So that's all in place organizing
No,
dot. Oh, no,
allinplace.org.
no, I know, but the name of your company is all in
All in
place
place
organizing.
organizing. Yes.
And your website is
allinplace.org.
Great. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Aaron, it's been such a pleasure to be with you today and to just really find out the difference you're making in people's lives through your service of just having people have an organized life and not
Mhm.
necessarily have everything perfectly in place, but to relieve them from that burden, that grip that has them paralyzed
Yeah.
of not being organized and having a lot of stuff
Yeah.
to where they can actually diminish the load and go out and have a great life.
And I'll just add that my tagline is experience the freedom of organized living. And that's really what my purpose in doing this business is for people to have that experience of freedom, a functional, peaceful, beautiful, and inviting space.
Beautiful. Well, Aaron,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Phil. It was great to be here.
All right. And listeners out there, if you're ready for that, contact Erin and she'll be ready to talk with you and see what's there for you, no matter how big or little your disorganized life is. She'll be ready. All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Phil.
Erin.
Have a great day.
Hey, you too.